Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikhil and this is the chapter 6 part 2 of the Richdadpoordad series. Let's continue. As it further says, I do it because I want to make money fast. Not because I need to, but because I want to. It is a fascinating learning process. I develop my financial IQ because I want to participate in the fastest game and biggest game in the world. And in my own small way, I would like to be part of this unprecedented evolution of humanity, the era where humans work purely with their minds and not with their bodies. Besides, it is where the action is. It is what is happening. It's hip, it's scary, and it's fun. That is why I invest in my financial intelligence, developing the most powerful asset I have. I want to be with people moving boldly forward. I do not want to be with those left behind. I will give you a simple example of creating money. In the early 1990s, the economy of Phoenix was horrible. I was watching the TV show Good Morning America when a financial planner came on and began forecasting doom and gloom. His advice was to save money, put $100 away every month, he said, and in 40 years you will be a multimillionaire. Well, putting money away every month is a sound idea. It is one option, the option most people subscribe to. The problem is this: it blinds the person from what is really going on. They miss major opportunities for much more significant growth of their money. The world is passing them by. As I said, the economy was terrible at that time. For investors, this is the perfect market condition. A chunk of my money was in the stock market and in the apartment houses. I was short of cash because everyone was giving stuff away. I was buying, I was not saving money. I was investing. My wife and I had more than $1 million in cash working in a market that was rising fast. It was the best opportunity to invest. The economy was terrible. I could I just could not pass up these small deals. Houses that were once $1 lakh were now $75,000. But instead of shopping at the local real estate office, I began shopping at the bankruptcy attorney's office or the courthouse steps. In this shopping place, a $75,000 house could sometimes be bought at $20,000 or less for $2,000, which was loaned to me from a friend for 90 days for $200. I gave an attorney a cashier's check as a down payment. While the acquisition was being processed, I ran an ad in the paper advertising a $75,000 house for only $60,000 and no money down. The phone rang hard and heavy. Prospective buyers were screened, and once the property was legally mine, all the prospective buyers were allowed to look at the house. It was a feeding frenzy. The house sold in a few minutes. I asked for a $2,500 processing fee, which they gladly handed over, and the escrow and little company took over from there. I returned the $2,000 to my friend with an additional $200. He was happy, the home buyer was happy, the attorney was happy, and I was happy. I had sold a house for $60,000 that cost me $20,000. The $40,000 was created for money in my asset column in the form of promissory note from the buyer. Total working time 5 hours. So now that you are financially literate and read numbers, I will show you why this is an example of money being invented. During this depressed market, my wife and I were able to do six of these simple transactions in our spare time. While the bulk of our money was in larger properties and the stock market, we were able to create more than $190,000 in assets, notes at 10% interest. In those six buy, create, and sell transactions, that comes at approximately $19,000 a year income, much of it sheltered through our private corporation. Much of that $19,000 a year goes to pay for our company cars, gas, trips, insurance, dinners with clients, and other things. By the time the government gets a chance to tax that income, it's been spent on legally allowed pre tax expenses. This was a simple example of how money is invented, created, and protected using financial intelligence. Ask yourself how long it would take to save you $190,000. Would the bank pay you 10% interest on your money? And the note is good for 30 years. I hope they never pay me the $190,000. I have to pay a tax if they pay me the principal, and besides, $19,000 paid over the 30 years is a little over 5 lakh dollars in income. I have people ask what happens if the person doesn't pay. That does happen, and it's good news. The Phoenix real estate market from 1994 to 1997 has been one of the hottest in the nation. That $60,000 home would be taken back and resold for $70,000, and another $2,005 is the collected as the loan processing fee. It would still be a zero down transaction in the mind of the new buyer, and the process would go on. If so, you are quick. The first time I sold the house, I paid back the $2,000. Technically, I have no money in the transaction. My return on the investment ROI is infinity. It's an example of no money making a lot of money. In the second transaction, when resold, I would have put $2,000 in my pocket and re-extended the loan for to 30 years. What would my ROI be if I got paid money to make money? I do not know, but it sure beats saving $100 a month, which actually starts out as $150 because it's after tax income for 40 years at 5%. And again, you are taxed on the 5%. That is not too intelligent. It may be safe, but it's not smart. Today, in 1997, as I write this book, the market conditions are exactly the opposite of 5 years ago. The real estate market of Phoenix is the envy of the US. Those houses we sold for $60,000 are now worth 1,10,000 dollars. There are foreclosures opportunities still available, but it will cost a valuable asset, my time, to go out looking for them. They are rare, but today there are thousands of buyers looking for those deals and only a few available that make financial sense. The market has changed. It is time to move on and look for the other opportunities to put in the asset column. You don't do that here. This is against the law. You are lying. I hear those comments much more than that. Can you show me how to do that? The math is simple. You do not need algebra or calculus. I don't write much because the escrow company handles the legal transaction and the servicing of the payments. I have no roofs to fix or toilets to unplug because the owners do that. It's their house. Occasionally, someone does not pay, and that is wonderful because there are late fees, or they move out and property is sold again. The court system handles that. It may not work in your area, The market conditions may be different, but the example illustrates how a simple financial process can create hundreds of thousands of dollars with little money and low risk. It is an example of money being only an agreement. Anyone with a high school education can do it. Yet most people won't. Most people listen to the standard advice of work hard and save money. For about 30 hours of work, approximately $1,90,000 was created in the asset column and no taxes were paid. Which one sounds harder to you? Work hard, pay 50% in taxes, save what is left. Your savings then earns 5%, which is also taxed. Or take the time to develop your financial intelligence and harness the power of your brain and the asset column. Add to add to that how much time it takes you. Time being one of your greatest assets to save $1,90,000 if you used option number one. Now you may understand why I silently shake my head when I hear parents say my child is doing good in school and receiving good education. It may be good, but is it adequate? I know the above investment strategy is a small one. It is used to illustrate how small can grow into big. Again, my success reflects the importance of a strong financial foundation, which starts with strong financial education. I have said it before, yet it is worth repeating. Financial intelligence is made up of these four main technical skills. First is financial literacy, the ability to read numbers. Second is investment strategies, the science of money making money. The third, the market, supply and demand. Alexander Graham Bell gave the market what it wanted. So did Bill Gates. A $75,000 house offered for $60,000 that cost $20,000 was also the result of seizing an opportunity created by the market. Somebody was buying and someone was selling. The law, the awareness of accounting, corporate state and national rules and regulations. I recommend paying within I recommend playing within the rules. It is the basic foundation on the combination of the skills that is needed to be successful in the pursuit of wealth. Whenever it be, though the buying of small homes, large apartments, companies, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, precious metals, basketball cards, or the like. By 1996, the real estate market had rebounded and everyone else was getting in. The stock market was booming and everyone was getting in. The US economy was getting back on its feet. I began selling in 1996 and was now traveling to Peru, Norway, Malaysia, and the Philippines. The investment had changed. We were out of the real estate market as far as buying goes. Now, I just watch the values climb inside the asset column and will probably begin selling later this year. It had some of those six little house deals will begin selling and the $40,000 note will be converted to cash. I need to call my accountant to be prepared for cash and seek ways to shelter it. The point I would like to make is that investment come and go. The market goes up and goes down. Economic improve and crash. The world is always handling you opportunities of a lifetime every day of your life, but all too often we fail to see them. But they are here. And the more the world changes and the more technology changes, the more opportunity there will be to allow you and your family to be financially secure for the generations to come. So why bother developing a financial intelligence? Again, only you can answer that. I know why I continue to learn and develop. I do it because I know there are things coming. There are changes coming, and I would rather welcome change than cling to the past. I know there will be market booms and market crashes. I want to be I want to continually develop my financial intelligence because at each market change, some people will be on their knees begging for their jobs. Others, meanwhile, will take the lemons that life hands them, and we are all handed lemons occasionally and turn them into millions. That's financial intelligence. I am often asked about the lemons I have turned into millions. As a personal note, I hesitate using many more examples of personal investments. I hesitate because I am afraid it will come across as bragging or tooting my own horn. That is not my intention. I use the examples only as numerical and chronological illustrations of actual and simple cases. I use the examples because I want you to know that it is easy. It is easier and more familiar you are with the pillars of the financial intelligence. Personally, I use two main vehicles to achieve financial growth: real estate and small stocks. I use real estate as my foundation day in and day out. My properties provide cash flow and occasional sprouts of growth in value. The small cap stocks are used for fast growth. I do not recommend anything that I do. The examples are just that, examples. If the opportunity is too complex, I do not understand the investment. I don't do it. Simple math and common sense is all that is needed to do well financially. There are 5 reasons for using the examples: to inspire people to learn more, to let people know it is easy if the foundation is strong, to show that anyone can achieve great wealth, to show that there are millions of ways to achieve your goals, to show that it's not rocket science. In 1989, I used to jog through a lovely neighborhood in Portland, Oregon. It was a suburb that had little gingerbread houses. They were small and cute. I almost expected to see a little Red Riding Hood skipping down the sidewalk on her way to the grannies. There were for sale signs everywhere. The timber market was terrible. The stock market had just crashed and the economy was depressed. On one street, I noticed for sale sign that was up longer than most. It looked old. Jogging past it one day, I ran into the owner who looked troubled. "What are you asking for your house?" I asked. The owner turned and smiled weakly. "Make me an offer," he said. "It's been for sale for over a year. Nobody even comes by anymore to look at it." "I will look," I said, and brought the house a half hour later for $20,000 less than his asking price. It was a cute little two-bedroom home with gingerbread trim on all the windows. It was light blue with grey accents and red, and had been built with in the 1930s. Inside there was a beautiful rock fireplace as well as two tiny bedrooms. It was a perfect rental house. I gave the owner $5,000 down for the $45,000 house that was really worth $65,000, except that no one wanted to buy it. The owner moved out in a week, happy to be free, and my first tenant moved in, a local college professor. After the mortgage expenses and management fees were paid, I put a little less than $40 in my pocket at the end of each month. Hardly exciting, a year later, the depressed Oregon real estate market had begun to pick up. California investors, flush with money for the still booming real estate market, were moving north and buying up Oregon and Washington. I sold that little house for $95,000 to a young couple from California who thought it was a bargain. My capital gains of approximately $40,000 was placed into the 1031 tax deferred exchange, and I went shopping for a place to put my money. In about a month, in about a month, I found a 12 unit apartment house right next to the Intel plant in Beaverton, Oregon. The owners lived in Germany, had no idea what the place was worth, and again just wanted to get out of it. I offered $275,000 for a $450,000 building. They agreed to $3 lakh. I bought it and held it for 2 years. Utilizing the same 103 exchange process, we sold the building for $4,95,000. bought a 30-unit apartment building in Phoenix, Arizona. We had moved to the Phoenix by then to get out of the rain and needed to sell anyway. Like the owner Oregon market, the real estate market in Phoenix was depressed. The price of the 30-unit apartment building in Phoenix was $875,000 with $225,000 down. The cash flow from the 30 unit was little over $5 lakh a month. The Arizona market began moving up, and in 1996, a Colorado investor offered us $1.2 million for the property. Okay, I will end this part of the audiobook here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for listening.